Hey y'all, Jessie Petersen here with Let's Make Art. I'm a mixed media artist and I love art journaling. Art journaling is so fun and I love teaching about it and sharing concepts. Art journaling is whatever you want it to be. It can be writing lyrics from your favorite song. It could be sketching something that you saw in your day. It could be following a prompt and a technique and trying new things out. It is a lot of fun and I highly recommend it. This project I have for you today, I'm calling Abundance, and
Aww.
Thank you. That's Keenan. He's our camera guy and tells me what to do and cheers us on as an art cheerleader, hype man.
Big fan of the arts.
All the things. So this project we're doing mandalas, and we're super excited to tell you about that. This last couple of projects we've been working in the theme Seeking Solace. So just making mandalas in a way that kind of brings some peace and just good vibes to our life.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go over the supplies that we're going to use for this project. We are going to use, it seems crazy, but we are going to use this aqua. When we mix it, we'll get a kind of navy blue with that violet.
I like that. We're
going to use this violet. This is Dr. P.H. Martin. The pigment in this paint is just amazing. I love it. And we're going to use Dr. P.H. Martin Spectralite Liquid Acrylic White as well. So these are all acrylic, but they're a little different than other acrylics because they're more liquid. And so, which is great for art journaling because they dry faster. So then, we can close our page and move on to the next thing, which is great. We're also going to use this awesome stuff called Light and Fluffy Modeling Paste by the Crafters Workshop to get this really cool texture.
Is it actually light and fluffy?
Is it light and fluffy? I mean,
Yeah.
Look at that.
Because when you describe it, I feel like we should just call it the marshmallow paste.
It is light. This jar is light compared to some of the other modeling pastes I
Really?
have. Yeah, and it does look like marshmallows.
It looks like marshmallows.
Kind of want to eat it, but I'm sure it wouldn't taste good. It
Probably
looks like it would taste good though. So when we apply that, we're going to use a palette knife, and you can play around with like various size of brushes here. I usually recommend a 1/2-inch oval mop brush. Trying to say all the things at the same time.
That's just called being efficient.
Thanks, Keenan. Or you could try some larger, size brushes if you have them. This is not necessary. You can achieve this look kind of with whatever brush you have, just having a good time here. We're also going to use an X-Acto or a pair of scissors to cut out from our collage paper the word abundance, and we're going to use this glue stick to glue that on. So gather your supplies and then we will talk about the steps we're going to do to make this. So first, we're going to use this stencil from Faber-Castell. Is that how you say that?
That's how I say it.
I've already used this stencil once, so they are reusable. They're made from cardstock craft paper. And so, the cool thing is you get a really great value. You get all these stencils. There are all these stencils that you get in this pack. And it gives you a lot of variety for your art journaling. And if you use acrylic paint on them, they actually just make them a little sturdier, so I really like that about them. So we're going to use this to get our texture down first, and we're going to let that dry. And then, before we let it dry, we're actually going to take a little bit out of the middle so that your book will still close nicely. And then we're going to paint the purple and the blue, and then we're going to come back over with a little bit of white, and then we'll mess around with some finishing details and paste that on. So pretty straightforward, really fun to make, and we can think about the idea of abundance while we make it. And that brings us to our prompts. Each art journaling project that I create, I try to include a prompt and a technique. These are things you can choose to use or together or mix them up however you like. If something doesn't resonate with you, then you don't need to do it. So if you like making this and you don't really want to think about abundance, that's okay. If you'd like to use this prompt, go for it. This is it. Okay. It says, while you create a mandala, try thinking about the word abundance. Abundance can apply to many aspects of life and it's not limited to material wealth. You can think of abundance in terms of spiritual growth, your creative endeavors, or inner wisdom. The wise author Eckhart Tolle said, acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. That's so good.
I love that quote.
Acknowledging the good that you already have, right?
Right.
You may enjoy writing or thinking about all that you are thankful to have an abundance of as you create in your art journal. So you can do this, and then this can be kind of a jumping off point to other thoughts or ideas in your journal. Just inviting you to think a little deeper if you're into that. So that is our prompt.
I love that prompt.
Thanks, Keenan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And sometimes I get really excited, and I need to remember to like take a breath. I already feel like I'm a little bit out of breath, so this is good. And this is something I like to do before I start a project, just to center myself, remember why I'm sitting down to create, why it's important to make time for ourselves and self-care and do these things. So I like to take a deep breath, and I invite you to do that too, if it feels right. And set an intention. And today, I think our prompt kind of helps us set an intention. And I think the intention that I'd like to set today is shifting from a mindset of scarcity and not enough or less to a mindset of abundance. And I think, you know, when I think about I don't have enough, or there's a scarcity, or there's less, feelings of fear come in, feelings of anxiety kind of creep in, like I'm not going to get this done in time, or I'm worried about this. And I have found that if I try to set a mindset of abundance and like slow down, that those feelings kind of dissipate, and I recognize that I just have a lot going on here, a lot of things going in my favor, you know, and that just switching that mindset can really help kind of unlock those feelings of anxiety. And one of the things that I like about thinking about abundance rather than scarcity is that there's no time for competition. There's no time for comparing yourself to others, because we're not worried about that. We're focused on, you know, all of the things that we have that are good. So we won't compare our work. We're just going to have a great time.
It's going to be a great time. We're going to be happy.
Yes. Okay. So I'm
I was
going
going to say too,
Yeah.
I have, when there's like feelings of like the lack of abundance, I start to feel insecure.
Yeah.
But if we start to look at our lives and be happy with what we currently have, it's a lot easier to be humble.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's easier to find things that we have right under our nose that maybe we haven't thought about in a while, like as a thing that we could be grateful for, right? Like it's so easy to take all those things for granted, some of those things for granted.
It is.
I'm just going to use my cutting mat to protect my surface for now. I'm going to put my journal there. And yeah, I like that, Keenan. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Get our stencil. So I kind of think it's fun to go just a little bit this way. In terms of composition, if you put it right in the middle and it's centered, that might be a vibe you're going for, but I kind of like to take a third of it here and the rest of it on that side. So that's what I'm going to do. Just going to bring this in to, and I'm thinking about, okay, this middle of my journal is going to kind of, what did I do? It's going to hit that little bit of these little circles in the right spot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so I have used the stencil once already, so I'm showing you it is reusable.
How reusable is it?
You know, quasi reusable. You can use it a couple times, and then it's probably going to be, if you're using the heavy textured stuff, you might find that the texture is going to get into those little grooves. And this stencil is a little more detailed. Maybe your other ones that are not as detailed, you could get a little bit more use out of it. But if you're rough with it, you know, it might tear. But these, I mean, the value is that you get all these designs, right, in this paper stencil. So I'm just gonna I'm using just painter's tape. You could use washi tape, whatever you got, to just make sure that it's more flush. And I actually turned to the middle of my book for this one because I wanted it to be as flat as I could get it, since I'm going over the seam of the page. But you can do whatever you want there, whatever feels right. And I'm going to tape it on both sides just to keep that flat. Okay, that's feeling like good. Okay, I'll move my paint out of the way here. We'll get our fluffy marshmallow paste.
Fluffy marshmallow paste incoming.
Okay, it's not marshmallow paste, but
It's
it
not
sure looks
edible
like it.
marshmallow paste.
Okay, so I'm gonna get this on my craft knife, and this is something that you need to work quickly at. So you're gonna try to get your paste all on there at the same time, and then you're gonna wanna lift your stencil up pretty quickly because it will dry enough to where it'll stick to your stencil, and you don't want that. So those are my thoughts. And I'm just gonna put this on. I'm gonna scrape it across into those little areas like so. And you know, this is a really loose, kind of fun mandala. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, you saw the style that I did it in. It's all good if you like miss a spot or whatever. We're not gonna be too precious here. We're just having a good time.
So you're just scooping it, no diluting of any kind.
That is right. Thank you for pointing that out. Just taking it straight out the jar, putting it on there. Have you ever done drywall or anything like that?
Yes.
Is this kind of like that? Where you're just...
It looks like you're filling in the spaces. Yeah, totally.
And I'm pressing my stencil down a little as I bring it across so that it can catch that. If it's like not flat in an area, I'm just kind of trying to press it. I mean, you have a few minutes to work here, so don't get stressed about it, but try to work quickly enough where it's not going to start drying on you. That's what I'd recommend. Okay, I think I got most of the spots. The thicker you put it on, the longer it's going to take to dry, just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to carefully peel this off. Let's put this tape somewhere.
Save it. You never know what you could use it for.
Oh yeah, I'd save all kinds of things.
Eyebrow removal.
Oh gosh.
It's not strong enough, I've tried.
Have you really?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Now that I'm not sure.
I think he's making up stuff, y'all. Keenan. Okay, so I'm just gonna peel this off. See, and it's already kind of sticking, so it's a good thing we worked quickly here. Oh my gosh, you guys, it worked. It took a little bit of my cardboard from my stencil there, which is totally fine. Because, you know, it is not cardboard, but it's paper. And I've used it once before. And if that bothers you, you could go in there and get it out. I'm gonna cover this with paint anyway, so I'm not worried about it. The next step, but this is crucial, is you're gonna wanna scrape out the middle so that your book folds. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna drag it down the middle like that. And I'm just gonna wipe my paste off here. I'm gonna do it one more time on the other side. And I'm liking that, that's feeling good. Now, can you see this white paste on this semi-white page?
Yes, you can, on the side cam.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it and move it a little bit so everybody can see it. So there is our first attempt here of the first step, okay? Now this needs to sit and dry for a little bit, a lot of it. So if you have another project you wanna jump to and work on, do that, or eat a snack, or go
bake something.
Bake something and then send it to us, right? Just kidding. Okay, so yeah, let that dry and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, we're back. This is looking more dry. I just want to remind you to put your top back on your modeling paste.
Good call.
So it doesn't dry out.
Good call.
Now I let this dry for a while. I actually did another project and came back to this. From what I can see as far as modeling paste goes, they kind of recommend a good day for this to dry. If you want to wait that long, then you will have optimal results. I waited a good long time, maybe not a full day. But what you want to look for is that your paste isn't tacky to the touch and it's not smushy when you press down on it. Because just because if it feels dry on the outside, it might still be wet on the inside because this dries from the outside in kind of thing.
That makes sense. So like checking brownies to see if they're cooked all the way through.
Yes, yeah. So if you need to take a good long baking break to do a full-on snack before we come back to this, that would be good. But I promise the results are gonna be worth all the wait because it's so fun to see this pop and have dimension in your journal. So I'm excited. So our next step is going to be to get some paint on here. I'm gonna use the violet straight out of the jar. And one of the properties of this modeling paste that I wanted to make sure I mentioned is this light and fluffy modeling paste is different than some of the other pastes out there because it has porous surface.
Porous surface? What is...
Porous means it has a bunch of tiny little holes in it that absorb the paint better, and so it really gives you a saturated color, which I love. This is what I want for the contrast in the design we're doing, like this. So this background is dark, and then we got good saturation of purple, so that contrast with the white on top of it does its thing. Makes sense?
Totally makes sense.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go around the edges of this guy. And I'm using my 1/2" matte brush, but you might want to explore with the larger one if you have that. This is the fun part, so have fun painting this all crazy. Now the one thing about this paste is if you get it really, really wet, then it might soften a little. So you just want to be aware of that. Like, don't put a ton of water on it. And our paint is really got a lot of pigment in it, so we're not going to have to do a lot of water because I'm going for this dark look. So I just want this to pop, so I had to do the edge first. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, I was saying I like do these projects a couple times and I don't get tired of this one. It's been fun to do.
I mean, how could you?
I could do mandalas all day long, y'all. All day long. Love it. It's so relaxing. Okay, so we've got the purple around there, and then we can kind of get into these recesses, like into the in between the grooves. I'm not so worried about the top because we're gonna do a wash of white on the top. I just want to get in the, what's a better way to say that, Keenan? Like in there. I want to get in there.
In the spaces? In the deeper spaces, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Recessed
sections of the traced and marshmallow-filled art?
Yeah, they get it.
They get it. They're smart.
Mm-hmm. They're smart. They're doing art.
They can probably explain it better than we can.
That's why, videos get a visual.
Exactly.
It's good stuff.
The real challenge is to do this blindfolded.
Yeah, that would be a challenge. And I just want to keep the blindfold on after that.
No need to look at this.
Move it along. Oh, I love it. This violet straight out the jar is just so pretty.
So vibrant.
And I just decided I was going to work from the outside in. You don't have to do that. You can just go for it however you want. I just thought if I had a system that it wouldn't miss any spots, but you could do it however you want.
I think if I were to do this, I would do multiple rotations starting from the outside, moving my way to the in.
All right.
You know?
Yeah.
Break it up into layers. Maybe pretend like it was a mission and I was invading the city. That's what I used to do with my toys as a kid. I used to have like marbles and blocks, and the marbles were against the blocks. The blocks always won.
I like it. Right now my girls want to have like blocks and the magnet blocks that you can build stuff with and Barbies so they can build furniture for the Barbies. I'm like, one bit at a time, guys. I don't want to have like a billion things we have to clean up. They're like, but we want to make furniture for the Barbies. I'm like, all right, I guess that's fair.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
They're learning new things. It's okay. Okay, so we got most of the recessed parts in there. I mean, you could get crazy and just do the whole thing and then you'd know you got it all, but I was just thinking, just do it.
You could say divots too.
Oh, the divots.
The divots.
And I just love this mop brush because you get this like soft edge. Or if you're using like a flat brush, you get kind of like lines, if that makes sense. I just like having this soft. I want to show you like the bigger one just for fun. You don't feel like you have to feel like you have to have this. You don't need fancy brushes to make this at all. You can do it however you want, but just thought I'd show you. This is a thirsty brush.
Is that the same style brush?
Yep, just a little bigger size. And it holds more paint and water. So, similar. Switch back. Just wanted to show you. Okay, now we're going to do a little color mixing.
Yes.
Like color mixing.
Color mixing.
And you can get like some half moon shapes with this brush too, which is kind of fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, now we're going to get our aqua out and we're going to mix it with the purple and we're going to get sort of a navy-ish purple, purple. I know what I'm saying.
It sounded good to me.
Okay, can you see this color I'm mixing?
Yes.
Oh, look at that blue.
That blue is pretty.
So I'm just rotating my brush to get those kind of half moon sort of circly shapes. And this one's all about layering. So if you don't like something, it's all right, you can layer over it. It's all good. So fun. I think I want some little half moon shapes over here. Yeah, maybe I just want that corner to be a little more blue. And this paint will do your little blooms and stuff, so you can drop in a little water on your paper and see what it activates, what kind of cool textures you can get in there. Just don't pile a lot of water on the modeling paste itself, because that will make it soften. Put more purple in there. All right, now I'm going to water down my purple a little bit and my blue and get some lighter values in here. Just layering over what I got. Now this is acrylic, it's not watercolor, it's not reactivated by water. So like you can see in my palette, that's starting to dry a little bit. So you just have to work with that in mind.
I like that blue on the palette though.
It's so pretty. And I got some really fun blooms here that I didn't get last time. That's kind of fun. Mix a little bit more of this. And layer back over that purple a little. I mean, this is fun. I really like this.
It's fun to watch too.
Get some more I like those half moon things going there.
I do too.
It's like the mandala is kind of going, I don't know.
Yeah, it's spreading its love.
Yeah.
It's art and fun.
Yeah, you get it.
I get it.
Sometimes I don't have words for what I think is cool, but it's like this, that's cool. All right, let's get some more lighter layers on here. Oh yeah, like that.
Oh yeah.
excited. Okay, now I could have put something under there to protect that. I didn't, just so you know. If you're worried about that, put your wax paper under there. I just got excited. I'm going for it. I'll make that work later.
For people who are new, they might not know that trick.
Oh yeah, will you tell them about that trick?
So a great trick to protect the pages below the pages that you were working on is to just put a small sheet of wax paper between the two pages. So like your blank page below the page that you're working on and what you're working on.
Thanks, Keenan.
You're welcome. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, totally did. Wax paper is a great thing to have
is.
in your art journal kit.
I just have a piece of wax paper folded up in my journal.
Just keep it there
It's
so you
always
never
there.
know when you need it.
Yep.
No, I just think that needed a kind of a solid, just to give a rest from all the shapes we're doing. Now, if yours doesn't turn out exactly like this, that's okay. Everything that I do turns out a little differently each time. And if you enjoy doing this and you want to see if you can get different results, then you can just do it again. That's the beauty of having all these pages in our journal and all this fun paint to work with. Just keep going. Oh yeah, I love it.
Nice.
Excited about that. Okay, while I'm waiting for this area to dry, I'm just gonna check in here and make sure I got all the purple recesses going. Just gonna make sure I got it covered for the most part. Yeah, there's a little spot there. I needed to dispense a little more paint here.
Yeah, don't be stingy with that paint.
Yeah, you got plenty, and the pigment is just amazing. And if you've done any watercolor and you've tried Dr. P.H. Martin, it is really great watercolor too. I just love, they make quality products and I stand by that. I've never been disappointed. Their colors are just beautiful. Okay, feeling good about that. And you could just do a swash over if you need to. If you're worried about not getting it all in there, it's fine. Okay, then we are going to let this dry for a second. And our next step is going to be to put some white over top to make this pop again, and we'll add our little abundance tag. Okay, so be right back. Okay, this is more dry now, so we can do our next step. I'm going to grab a clip, just hold these pages down a little bit so we see. That's also a really great option, besides when you're working, if you want your page to be a little bit flatter. You can just leave your clips on it. Okay, we are going to use our white Dr. P.H. Martin to brush over the top of our, whoa.
Would you be willing to scoot your palette down so we can see the white?
I would love to.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me know. Okay, you could use your palette knife if you want, but I think a dry brush is nice. And my brush is pretty dry, so now it's not going to be. Not wet. Let's see. Okay, get our white on our brush, and then I'm just going to lightly pass over the top to get that dry brush look. And that makes it kind of pop from the purple background. Now we're not pressing the brush down because that would press the white into the recess. That's what we decided to call that. Parts that are on the end, not popping up. Because we want that contrast. So just lightly grazing over the top with a brush that's not too wet gives this dry brush which is actually a technique. Dry brushing is a technique. And see where I left that white? It's looking great.
Dry brushing is a technique?
Yeah. It's a dry brush technique.
Interesting.
So then it's starting to pop. It's popping.
Look how great that is.
Thanks. You guys all have an art cheerleader right here. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, you guys are doing incredible work.
You're doing a great job. Taking a little time for some self-care, making a cool thing in your journal. We're having a good time. Now you could, I kind of went off the edge there. You could go back and hit it with the purple if you want to clean that up, or you can just leave it. I'm going to leave it this time. Oh, I love this. This one got a little bumpy right there.
Kind of like it.
Yeah, it's cool. And you can spend some time really get detailed as you're doing this, or you can go quick and be like, all right, yeah, cool, cool, I like it. Just whatever you're feeling like. I'm gonna do a couple of spots where it's a little bit more white and even, and then let some of it be more of the dry brush technique, texture sort of situation. Oh, I gotta get these. And I'm turning my brush on the edge to get those little skinny spots. Oh, this is so fun. And I didn't really work in like some sort of order here, just kind of went for it. So just look around, see if you're missing any spots that need a little bit more touching up, but I think that's looking awesome.
Ooh, looks cool.
Yeah, mostly if you just make the edges pop, then you're gonna visually kind of see that all as one shape. Yay! Okay, I think we did it. And now we can do our little bit of collage paper with the words. And I have paint on my palette knife, so I'm just going to clean that off real quick. All right, that's good. Now we're going to get our glue stick. We're not going to use Yes Paste this time. We're going to use this Diary Glue Stick by Ranger. Just thought mix it up so you could try. We've been in the past using Yes Paste in our boxes and our subscription boxes, which I love and I still recommend, but I just thought I'd give you an opportunity to try a glue stick. A glue stick dries quicker than Yes Paste, so if you're wanting to have that manipulation time, then you're not going to get that with a glue stick. But it's a little less messy using the glue stick, so you got to pick your poison.
Pick it.
Oh, and I wanted to point out there's lots of different words on here that we don't do a project for, so you can explore other projects in your journal with some other words. But we're going to use abundance because that's what we've been focusing on today. And I'm just going to use my ruler and an X-Acto. You have scissors, you can do that. There's nothing too crazy about this. So I'm just going to cut that part this way. And then that, just following the line that I have on here. And then I'm just going to cut this part this way. And now our abundance has been set free from the collage paper. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to glue it. Let's get this in here. Use my glue stick. I'm just putting it in the left corner, just looking at the space here and here is kind of the same-ish because that feels balanced, and we got abundance there. Oh my gosh, you guys, we did it. We did it, y'all. Look at that. Thanks, Keenan. This was a lot of fun to make. I hope that you had fun exploring textures and layering your paint and trying out, maybe Dr. P.H. Martin was your first time to try that paint out. We hope you enjoyed that. And making a mandala with the idea of abundance and thinking about that. If you want to see how others did this project, you can check out our community on the Facebook group, Let's Make Art Journals. Lots of sharing, lots of caring, lots of cheering each other on there, which I love. And you can also find us on Instagram, Let's Make Art Journals. That's it. That's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time.